What is to become of truth when truth has no familiar form, no consistent shape? How does one identify actuality in a subjectively honest way when there is nothing to distinguish it from anything else? People who reflect what we as a species hold profitable hold decisive power over the occurrences in our lives and world. If we consider the options for our species in terms of things we could hold valuable and in what order of priority we could hold them to be of value, well, suffice to say there is a gigantic number of combinations that would change our world and our lives drastically. As things are in our current reality, we, of course, have our own list of what we define as having worth. Unfortunately, for much of the life here, our species has chosen to value it much less than it does something like money, for instance. When something is much higher on the scale of accepted value or viability, it can be used to demonstrate the general value of those things below it on the scale, mathematically speaking. Money has been proven to be generally accepted as being much more valuable or viable than life, or human well-being even. We can figure out the precise value of a unit of money when we observe the capacity at which it demonstrates its value. Money is a currency which, in all of its forms, is traded or exchanged to receive something else of determinate value. Therefore, its actual value is based on the total perceived value of what is gained by spending it. For example, a candy bar costs about $1. How beneficial is a candy bar independently? Well, it's a food item of slight and brief indulgence, possessing little to no nutritional worth. It's not very valuable at all, and in the terms of the money that is used to produce it with intention of selling it, it's worth many times less than what it is sold for at retail. Now we could even say that it's not worth $1 at all, perhaps a quarter of that at best. So if we then make a historical cross-reference, we can see how many dollars a human being generally costs. History shows that in the last 200 years or so, the price of your average slave has increased. The price of your average slave has decreased dramatically. Though even at the highest ever prices, it was still only worth about $50,000, and that's in the 1800s. When we make the adjustment to today's money, the price is actually about $100 per slave, at the highest possible cost. What else is about $100 in cost? A couple nice tires for your car is a suitable example. So then if you deem my method or results as logically sound, then a new tire is worth about half a person's life. In the 1800s, when slavery was much more generally accepted and at its peak, $50,000 was a great damn deal of money. Still less than is worthy of life, yet much more valuable than a slave today. When we consider the amount of respect and value denoted to humans' lives back then, we can easily assess it was still not much. No more than a large lot of land or a carriage or two. Still, it has seen its value reduced even further. An amount equivalent to what a minimum wage worker might make in your average workday. That pretty much rounds out the first main point of what I'm saying. What we value most shows a lot more reverence to our selfish desires than it does to our strength of character. Petty and childish behavior is common and acceptable. Reason, maturity, and honesty are uncommon and considered less of use. Without understood purpose given, the modern understandings of worth and necessity. Those who have aligned their aspirations with the system of value that holds monetary currency most high have developed themselves to make achievements toward the goal of attaining that currency. It is the absolute bottom line. The fundamental error in this is the utilitarian design and intended purpose of money itself. It is a utility created by man to denote value in trade in a business market or economy. In a complex and vast multi-market scenario, money serves its true purpose of simplifying the costs and exchange of goods and services. It is not in any capacity or reasonable or necessitous replacement for those things that have historically shown themselves to be valuable. One could make the analogy of an ant who hoards food needlessly or excessively, so that it may have it all for itself, though it does not require it whatsoever. If more ants were to begin adopting this behavior, placing their innate greed above the well-being of their community, they would only be acting as a detriment to its livelihood and that of their own. Nature provides its own solutions to potential conflicts such as this. An animal living in the natural wild, you function with survival as your main priority. And if you do not, then you do not survive. Life, that is to be alive, to be a living thing, in this case a person. Are we alive because we breathe, or do we breathe because we are alive? The truth is that we live in whatever reality we have accepted, and in the reality that presents itself around us. The presence of being is the single most important outcome of our reality, and the planet has invested a great deal of time to achieve this result. It is why survival is the greatest instinct for this without sentient will such as ourselves. Of course, we have instinct as well, but it may function to a lesser degree, or perhaps it has less relevant use to us because of the gap our evolution has created. The organic development of life on Earth is a rarity of the highest order. The human species has never encountered any significant organisms anywhere else, even over the vast distances monitored and explored by them. They have not yet been given any indication of alien life outside their own reality. Allow this to speak to the true value of our lives. That includes the lives of all beings on this planet, without exception. Has our own environment not shown us how much time, space, and energy has been invested in the cultivation of this environment and its inhabitants? We have, in fact, observed countless other galaxies, solar systems, etc. Many more than I think we could fairly say was expected, even by the most informed. Even so, we have not come across a planet like ours, one that sustains life as ours has and does, one that currently supports a plethoric multitude of variant life forms. Our planet was like some of the others prior to the existence of life upon it, perhaps, transforming and developing through processes that certainly bear connection to biological development, Our bodies, our minds, our realities would have never been if not for an unprecedented event which may have been an eventuality. A perfect equation that occurs without design, only function. Again I will say, each life is valuable and has purpose. Absolutely, without a doubt.